Знімалась.
На чудесна еда. Пока, мама.
Мама, не хочу сюди впаду. Мене снайпер. Ого, мене снайпер. Ого. Окей. Вот.
Awesome. Ты спамер. Да, точно.
Дай бог. Окей. Вот.
Здорово. Что? Окей.
Вот.
Сейчас, да?
Эй, помогу просто. Вот. Домик на мой под.
Я не volim ovog igrača. On ne zna da igra igrice, ali uopšte ne. Klikne na build i neće. O, dobro.
No way, bro. No way.
Авраам Лінкольн. Гледа, как вас будет? Как он не знает? Діма! Ні, Діма! Діма за вітер! Діма! Ладно, нет. Подав.
Bro, no way, bro, no way. Oh, fuck.
Знаємо.
Oh, fuck. Bro, what? Bro, what? Okay. Okay. Mama, no way. No way, bro. Ah. What? Okay. Oh, blah. What? Нет, он забьет. Okay, bro, okay. Okay, no. Okay. Oh, shut the fuck.
Oh, man, dat is een verkeerd. Wil je even die voorzet uitzetten?
No. Okay. Go fix you. Shut the fuck? Shut the fuck. Bro, isso foi por ele meu. Shut the fuck. ¿De qué no me volviste nivel?
Piece of the pie. We already saw the influence it had in the last lobby. And yet again, Tayson, Ghost have an incredibly difficult uphill battle. It is win or last chance qualifier that they're staring down the barrel of.
Yeah, I mean, again, the reality is many people want to see it, right? Stream, all the amazing moments they've shown us. But the reality is, Taco, is they haven't showcased any ability today to be able to inspire that level of confidence. And so at the end of the day, it is a hope, a dream, a wish, a prayer, whatever you want to say it is, that is going to have to come through right now if we are to see some of our favorite names make it.
Doesn't help either for a team like Frenex. When you're sitting at 68 points, sure, 100 might look out of reach, but realistically, one good lobby could be the difference. But Frenex brings only so incredibly low. Thankfully, his duo able to back him up, so they will keep the ball rolling here in this final match of the day at Painted Palms. Things just a little bit too dicey. You can definitely start to see some of the discomfort and just the overall nerves beginning to reapply themselves, because teams are recognizing the fact that this is their last opportunity to try and avoid the last chance qualifier.
Ice in your veins. That's what you need here. You can't be nervous. The moment can't be too big for you to handle. We're going to see a Fizz shock play right happen. And they will actually catch them out. Collapsy, that is beautiful.
They needed that, that's for sure. Killed. Just trying to see if they can keep gathering that momentum. With Clapsy being so healthy, though, it'll be very easy for him to now take over the aggressive front. Jax, though, getting to benefit just a little bit off of that Flowberry grenade. Slightly unfortunate, but still not going to prevent Clapsy from finding yet another 50 chunk out of that shield. Killed. Now completely healthy, back to 200. Willing to just try and dive back in. This duo's already finished the sequence of events, though. And
yeah, and the reality is that's two teams that are trying to fight their way in. A replay of this one here, look at that. Knew exactly which way he was going to exit the box and had the piece ready. Ghost and Tayson forcing the issue here a bit, getting a bit aggressive. I say that as they disengage, but they have one, which is inspiring. They're going to need many more though, Taco, if they don't get the win.
And earlier today, you know, I'd asked you, hey, game one definitely didn't go in their favor. Do you stick to the plan, or you know, at this point, do you begin to start to try and reevaluate? And I do feel like they are at a point here where they don't necessarily need to abandon everything that they've been practicing leading up to this secondary heats. It's just a lot to contend with.
Nah, rip it up. Whatever the plan was, rip it up. Put it in the shredder. Get rid. You have to trust your instincts now. I think when you look at Tayson as a player, his biggest success, the best era of his career, what was his biggest advantage over people was his instincts, his intuition of the game. And we're going to have to hope he can rely on those here. the talent of a Ghost, the young Greek fragger who, again, has showed promise. But on this stage, the biggest stage he might have been on thus far, you will have to deliver for Tayson.
We can see so many teams just caught in these awkward engagements, teams that are sitting right around that halfway point where they haven't been quite consistent enough throughout the course of today's games to put themselves safely into that top 10 consistency placement section, but Misha and Kora are also just looking to shut down the dream tier right now for Uppal and Kyoto. They get a big exchange. Uppal, fortunately, gonna have to be brought back in. Kora will pick up Kira, but Misha still looking, still hanging on. Uppal and Misha are both just so incredibly low, but it doesn't matter because you've got Kora able to close it out, but now Sadie and Druxy's, this day has basically left them in a position where it's win or nothing. And they are full on ruining the dreams right now for both of these duos. Not playing to give it up just yet.
Yeah, the thing with these fights is as they draw out, you want to maintain control, you want to make sure you have exits. And when you're fighting from a couple tiles away like Druxy's is here, you want to make sure you're keeping any angle advantages.
Still just haven't been able to really draw in fully onto where Misha and Kora are at, and I fear that this has kind of just fizzled out now for Sadie and Druxy's, but they're still willing to give a little bit of chase. They know that they're going to need a big showing. They want this day to not result in just a last chance qualifier appearance, but for Misha and Kora, this could also be the moment that is able to essentially jumpstart their ability to make a really solid endgame finish. It's good placements, good eliminations, but that's not going to be the case here. Sadie will find Kora, and Druxy's on the other side, cuts off Misha. So that will be the conclusion to their Major 1 finals for the time being. It's all up to the last chance qualifier now in that duo.
That's going to be something we say for a lot of the different teams as this game continues to tick on. Druxy's and Sadie trying to make sure that we're not saying it about them. It won't be easy. With Dora and Extracito knocking on the door. They're running out of whites. Dora gonna need something soon.
Gonna need some of that.
Plenty to work with.
A bit of pizza. Jesus. Well, we saw one Spanish team with success earlier today. Extracito and Dora. They might be able to turn this in their favor. That's a really nice shot to connect, but Extracito doesn't see it coming from the other direction. And now that pizza will come into play, but Sadie is absolutely shutting teams down here. Extracito still trying to look if they can slide around. A lot of wiggly movement here. It's making things difficult for Druxy's and Sadie, but having lost your duo, that is a big blow.
That's the problem when you're trying to take fights in the storm and your only white is pizza, right? For you to use it, you're gonna have to drop it down. Ideally, you know, it's gonna be in a moment where you have a bit more time and space to work with, but the flow of these fights just doesn't go that way, right? You're gonna take a big shot, you're gonna need your teammate to regroup with you. That allows the other team to come in and just pressure your walls, and that's exactly what happened there. It's not as free-flowing as maybe if you're working with splashes or something else, right? To sort of dance around with.
I feel like this exchange has also just gone on a little bit too long here for Druxy's and Sadie. They will finally be able to close it out once and for all. They are the final duo left standing here at 4 Fields.
I don't know.
4 eliminations as well. But with how much time they just spent now having to make their way
I do not know.
into zone. Granted, their net surge is probably looking pretty solid, but on that same note, you still have to
Want to play some
past
reload?
teams that are just going to be settled in much better position to comparison to a duo arriving so late.
These guys are trying to set themselves up early. Set A-Racks, big game on the line here. Not just for them, but also for Frankie, watching in the back. This is why we just shouldn't let anyone give out their guarantees, Taco. You know, save that for the experts.
You know, it's tough though, right? Right, Levin. They can't all be 2K guarantees. You know what I mean?
They can't. Clearly not.
Just.
But look, one thing we can say for certain is that there will be a lot of people rooting for them, and rightfully so. So much talent, so much experience on those two teams, on those two players. It would be a shame, but we mentioned it. Well, you specifically mentioned it, Taco, right? That list of teams that have to call through last chance is getting spooky. And if they were to be added to it, it would just make that last chance qualifier that much more entertaining.
It's just the last place I'd want to be right now. Because it's not even about just making it to the last chance qualifier. You have to make it into the last chance qualifier finals too. And when there are so many strong contenders just already being factored into that from heats alone, on top of the ones that just weren't even in heats to begin with, again, it does become a little bit daunting. And I do feel for the kind of make their way forward through that option, but Mr. Savage and Velo, they're certainly a duo that is trying to avoid that at all costs, and they are within striking range. I mean, 73 points heading into this fifth lobby, 23rd position, but when you look at where 15th was at in the cutoff being 101 points, they are very realistically in the range to take over, but it is going to come down to these two needing to have a very strong performance.
Hello.
Nations, they need more.
Hello.
Yeah, they're gonna have to
Ciao.
really pull out one of their best performances individually. And really, we've been saying it, but we keep saying it because it is the reality. There's just a lot of teams who it's just got to be a win. And as the zones get closer and closer, smaller and smaller, the space for people to set up to do just that becomes so much more difficult. It's good to see the position Tayson and Ghost are in, right? This is the best position we've seen them in all day long. And so hopefully that can convert into something more significant than what we've seen them produce in previous rounds. Heshka and Cole, again, a team that early on in the day, you know, had some inspiring moments, but ultimately went quiet.
If there was ever a time for them to start making some noise, it is now, because they are also another one of those teams just kind of being factored in to being able to leapfrog some of the other competition inside of that top 10 for the consistency placements. We also saw some sparks of life from the Mont Blancs. That one game they went for hype, but aside from that, it just looks like the day has really been rather solid. It's been decent, but they are very clearly...
Absolutely. Louis and Rigby, two players who, again, don't necessarily have a wealth of experience by any means, but definitely showcased some promise. Like you said, game 2 when they were up there on height, it definitely felt like they were a team that maybe would make waves today. And while they hold on to a qualification spot at the moment, they will need to make sure this game continues to add to their tally.
I think the main thing too is that so many teams, I mean, everybody noticed what happened with Pico and Malibuca, that early departure just being the separating factor. It's all about just making it into the placements. That's truly where things can begin to kind of shift.
Hello.
Because so long as you get some points where they're knock on to Vanya, it's pretty tough here, but Louis, Rigby, very difficult when you're looking at two teams that are just so close together and so in need of a solid final finish.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be very tough. Very, very tough. We obviously saw yesterday Vico and Malabuko in a spot that looked maybe safe to qualify, and then they go down in the final game and they miss out by just one position. You'd hate to see that happen again. Vanya and Watts in a similar spot. So we'll see if they can cling on to their position right now.
Always a little bit of a nail biter involved. Formats, that's just the nature of the game. Strapped in, Jewel. 24 below, currently on the damage threshold. Lurking, crouching, waiting to see. But they might not have time on their side. They're gonna need to start getting active. Fortunately, they don't have to go full-on desperation measures jumping into somebody's box just yet, but getting these tags and seeing that it's SETI on the receiving end. But that's exactly what Strapped in Jewel needed. SETI and Rax, though, they're going to have to try and play for the recovery here. They're losing so much HP on that rotate.
Oh, no. That's the wrong box there, Jewel. And unfortunately, it's going to cost him either way. He gets shot in the back. We'll group up with Straps, but they have spent so much of their resources and utility to get to this position, and it's not necessarily even the best one they could be in. What's going on? Oh, my goodness, Khan. The highlights don't stop for them, even in this final game.
Mr. Savage, Velo, just trying to make it forward, but Savage has fallen. It's all down to Velo. Fury just doing what he can. Velo needs to connect with the shots. A little bit of now. 180 on the Chug Jug. 4 splashes. A mythic AR, but Velo, he's got the whole world in front of him. And he's trying to crack it wide open, but on the front side of the zone, there are just so many other teams that he has to contend with. SETI and Rax down in the low ground. Front side, Frozy will be taken down, but they need to get the finish. They need to get the materials. How's that going to be able to cut them off just a little bit? Cause some slight delay here. SETI and Rax, they are just not healthy. And with Surge ticks now, Rax and SETI, they're trying to make a move, but they need an elimination. They've got to just go against Azat. But Azat's just not giving them the opportunity. He's just holding them at bay. He can tell that they're injured. He can tell that they need this more than him. Even without his duo, he's still willing to just force SETI and Rax now to push off here. And so many of these teams, Levin, it's just starting to fall apart.
How many of these players right now are just holding on to a thread? Their dreams of the FNCS final slipping through their fingers. SETI falls, and Rax now has the weight of the world on his shoulders. With just 9 builds and no shields, stuck in the zone. He can't even get out of the zone. He's trying to break a tree. The medkit pop will keep him alive, but not for long enough. They will be bound to the LCQ. And he's not the only one left. Velo trying to keep the Mr. Savage dream alive. Trexer and Kiddo are up on high. They need a big game. And they have a lot of hungry players beneath them that are looking to clutch up now.
But this is Velo's opportunity to cement himself as more than just an up-and-comer. These are the moments that can really determine futures here, but Velo, he can't get away. He's trapped inside the box, and it is over now. Savage and Velo will have to see. And for the rest of this lobby, Ghost, also another one of our teams, just kind of hanging about here. Trexer and Kiruo, they know that they need this win if they want to avoid the last chance qualifiers. But Trexer, Kiruo, can they apply enough pressure? Azat also still hanging on despite having lost Ifrozi earlier on. But Tayson and Ghost, even though they might not have a strong material count, this is still the best that we have seen them yet here today, Levin. They've got some heals to work with, but they've caught the attention of the high ground. They're trying to see if they can keep it out, and sure enough, Trex is set tumbling down.
They're going for the gambit. They don't need the materials. They know they just need to take their opponents out. They know what they need. And it is a win. Going for everything right now. Tayson and Ghost. This is what legends are made of. Up above.
Sergio.
To close this lobby out. So many players still left. So many in the zone trying to find a way to stay. For revenge against them, he will chop it, they will fall, Kaduo will rise, but not before falling on the front side. Tayson and Ghost still have an opportunity to regain the height.
And Kiduo also eliminated for his troubles there, but now Tayson, Ghost, they're trying to see whether or not they can actually maintain height for the duration of this lobby. Nagi underneath, scrambling, so many players getting caught. The pressure just overwhelming though, and Nagi will fall. Ghost, Tayson, they might just be able to do it here. This is everything for Tayson's legacy as a player, as an individual, and Ghost right alongside him, building up. Frenek and Dinas, the only two that remain. The polls trying to see if they can also bring themselves into that Major 1 finals. But Tayson and Ghost, they refuse to let go. Even with only 8 builds remaining, it's just Frenek and Dinas that they have to contend with, where it's removed from the low ground. A chop comes through. Doncic still pushing through though. Tayson, he just needs to find the shots. Can Ghost make it happen? But Frenek overtaking the high ground. Tayson's been taken out. It's all up to the Bulls to close this one now. Ghost might have something to say though, and he can't get the shots. Frenek and Dina. For Tayson and Ghost, a heartbreaking scene, Levin, but at the same time, the polls just delivered.
These guys have shown throughout the day that they had what it takes to be a team that can play in the major finals. And big moments require big players, and that is what they have shown here. Frankie, break it all down. These guys deserve their spot.
That was an absolutely crazy endgame with pitch-perfect commentary by the fabulous Levin and Taco. My word, the cinema we have seen today to Carter, and I couldn't be more happy for Dinas and Frenek.
I am speechless. I truly am. I was not sure which way it was going to go because both of the duos in those final moments needed this win to qualify themselves to the major finals. Frenek with those last pumps connecting is what solidified that golden ticket. Throughout the day, 48th, 43rd, 21st, it was just not going their way. In the second to last match, they did get a 9th, and now with the win, have made it to the finals.
I mean, when I was watching that, you just think, yeah, Tayson, it's the story, it's the classic. You knew he's going to do it right. Last game,
No, cap it off!
Top 10 all day. And then just... Yeah, and I think it was a big shot from Frenek that shut him down, just opened up the door, and it looked as though that it kind of worked out for Tayson's team. They didn't have those extra materials, so the zone pulls back over the old builds. You think, right, they might have a chance right here, because of course they don't have the builds, but these guys just turned it around so quickly. Dinas and Frenek, I mean, they're a team that we haven't seen loads of today, but that's what this format can do. It can soar you all the way up, and this was what I was talking about here. The shot from Frenek to drop down onto Tayson to hit that first shot. And Ghost has so much to do, but he couldn't end up doing it. But big ups to these guys, the qualifying 3.
I mean, in Heat 2. With Tayson and Ghost able to perform like that under pressure, I think they've got some good chances in that last chance qualifier on Tuesday, Mini Minor, because there are going to be 5 games. There's 5 spots still up for grabs. Hopefully, though, they're not going to leave it until the last game.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully they get there, of course. Hopefully they qualify through. Hopefully they stick together as well, because, of course, sometimes you do get some team switches, especially when they are newer players coming in. Maybe Tayson's having questions. Maybe Ghost is having questions right now, because I know Ghost even played with a different teammate for the first Divisional Cup this season. So I hope they do stick together. I hope they work through some of those mistakes. A lot of off-spawn troubles for them, really, when you look at their day as a whole, and it just all culminated into this. Just too little too late to Carter.
Yeah, I mean, even leading up to this, you know, their expectations weren't at an all-time high, and it was a difficult drop being contested not only on their spot, but from the west side as well. They finally were able to make it to an end game. They did not disappoint in that end game until the final moments where they weren't able to close it out. So, you know, I'm hoping that we see more of them in Last Chance. I mean, you can see how confident they were playing from height. When you talk about experience, I mean, Tayson, one of the GOATs of EU, competitive now in a bit of a rough patch. Team, if they end up playing together, Mini.
He'll be back. Tayson will be back. At the beginning of the day, had a bit of a rough patch. Had those random run of 15th places, they had 3 or 4 or something in a row, and bounced back from it in trios. So hopefully he can do that on a more smaller scale now and bounce back in the next few days, because that's when they're going to be playing next. So a quick turnaround for them, but I'm sure they'll do it.
The thing that's interesting about this, I think, is maybe if it was Major 1 last year, maybe they wouldn't be looking to change duos for the last chance qualifier. I mean, you've got so little time, but also there's another couple of majors. EU are on the line for Major Summit 1. Everyone wants to go to Düsseldorf on the 30th and 31st of May. You can't get there if you don't qualify for the Grand Finals next weekend. Let's take a look, though, at who has qualified. Ooh. Starting with our Victory Royale winners, let's just remind ourselves, Chetan and Janice getting it done in 1 at the start of the day. We've got our Spanish duo, Takata. You were celebrating them taking it in game 2.
That I was. Scary and Syaz. They got the job done. Also, we have more very... See how Reason and Noah perform. Gonna have the shot to play in Germany later this year at the summit, but they still have to get the job done in the major finals.
Every crowd on LAN loves him, so imagine him in front of his hometown. Actually, I don't know which city he's from. His home country crowd, I should say. Now, let's take a look then at the 10 duos who've qualified through consistency. And there you have it. Country and Jew, it's not a... Oh, hang on a second. I apologize. We're looking at the standings. I'm so sorry. So let's... Inevitable in 6th position, and then let's cast our eyes down who made it across the line. And there you can see in 18th position, Vanya and Wox did not mini minor.
I mean, this last chance qualifier is looking stacked. I don't even think there's 5 big name teams. Like, there's too many big name teams to qualify through those 5 game wins. Like, there will inevitably mathematically be an upset in these last chance qualifiers. And even talking about like switching up teammates, usually when you do get into the last chance qualifiers, the pool of names of which you might want to switch with, it's not that strong. It's not that talented maybe because all the big teams have already qualified through. But there's so many big names to Casa here that are yet to qualify through. So it's going to be an absolute banger, and we're only in Heat 2 here. We've still got Heat 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, it will. Look, I also want to shout out Dandy Puzo and Werix. They went up 11 places, putting themselves in qualifying range through consistency. We saw them in the first match of the day. They got 2nd place. They were just outside of getting that Victory Royale to qualify. But then after that, 30th, 28th, it was all downhill for them. It was looking like they weren't even going to make it, but they got 3rd place in this last game, jumped up on the leaderboard, and did make it in through consistency. So shout out to them.
Can we also just quickly give props as well to Rigby and Louis, the Mont Blanc boys? We did a little bit of research and a bit of Googling. It turns out they seem to be from the UK, mini minor.
Yeah, from the UK. Also never made a major final before, so I always like to see players that are making their first major final. So it's nice to see the UK represented as well. So yeah, big ups to those guys. Really happy for them. They had a really solid sort of starts the game, or starts the day and end to the day, so they look really strong today.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have a good end to the day, guys.
Why's that, actually?
Yeah,
remind the viewers. Why
don't you tell them? Why don't you let them know?
So I'm not making it to the top 15.
It starts with an S. Maybe do it with an R.
What's the correct technique for this? Because I'm just gonna source this out. Actually, you know what? Oh my god! Anyway, It's really actually not a great idea to put hot sauce directly on your finger. While I
think
just
it's a good
sauce
idea to
this
put it
up,
on a-
I've actually
I
got an
don't-
announcement for
yeah.
you guys watching at home. So I'm just going to stall the inevitable just for a moment to tell you that Fortnite has got a new map, new weapons, Elite Stronghold launches on the 20th of April. But Elite and Reload rank players can grab a duo right now. Ask your mum if none of your mates are around, and you can drop in and get early access. And it's actually open right now until 11 p.m. Central European time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So go, feel like you're part of an exclusive club and help Epic test those servers and get things ready for the 20th of April. I can't wait to jump into that one, even though Mini Miner constantly refuses to play with me. So I'm just gonna...
Well, I mean, yeah, you got to get to, yeah, I mean, right,
Okay.
let's get to the
I
toast
don't understand why the chili sauce is nesting. Why have I done this to myself? What is the technique? Is it just to, like, do it as small as possible?
I don't think there's a
anyone's ever
technique.
done this before. I don't think there's
Possible.
a technique for how
I
you
can
do this.
actually just... Really small. I can just swallow it in one, right? By the way, if you can just get in touch with Rita, because Levin might have to host the show tomorrow. So,
I'm have to do the outro at this point.
Oh my gosh.
I've actually, oh my
You
god,
did
it's
it.
stuck
Oh
in
my
my throat. I have done it though. Oh my god, yeah, so, yeah, Reese Hub, if you're watching this, mate.
We might need a new
See you
host.
on the broadcast tomorrow. Oh my god, it's actually stuck in
How
my
did
throat.
it taste, actually? Was it
Yeah.
dry paper,
correct with it.
slightly
Yeah.
bitter, synthetic taste from the adhesive? What was the verdict? Oh no, that's
Well, there's horn sound.